Sam and the group kept Silas as their prisoner. Desperate to find the kids, he pushes Silas for answers, but there was no luck. The group has made an agreement with Paris people, who provide them with food, but she wants them to hand over Silas. However, Ty convinces her to let them interrogate him for a few. A new sinkhole opens in 1988, where Josh and Riley are. Silas reveals that he doesn't know how to bring their kids back, that Rebecca Aldridge can help them. But she is missing. Silas guides them to a building made of glass and steel, where they believe they can find Rebecca. In the way, they encounter Lucas, who hasn't left after burying his mother. Now they hear Veronica scream and find her imprisoned by a group of slavers with weapons. They manage to free Veronica, but Eve gets captured, and Levi decides to give himself up to stay with Eve. Lucas takes injured Veronica back to the clearing. Meanwhile, Gavin, Izzy, and Ella, after jumping into the sinkhole, eventually make their way to the clearing, where they learn about Josh getting teleported and Eve being taken. Gavin remembers that the group who took Eve and Levi are called exiles. His grandfather used to warn him about them when he was a kid. They allow him to go with Gavin. Rebecca convinces Scott to help her, as she needs to access the building. They try to enter through a secret entrance, but they were locked out. And so she sends Scott to the village to retrieve a key card which was inside Silas's journal, which will grant them access to the building. Scott gives the key card to Rebecca, who informs Gavin that there is a portal on the 10th floor of the building that can take them back to 1988. Gavin agrees to go with her. Meanwhile, Josh and Riley are at 1988. They meet a geology professor named Franklin Marsh. He realizes that they know about the sinkholes and asks for their help in preventing a tidal wave caused by a new sinkhole. He believes they can convince Dr. Caroline Clark, the head of the geology department, to take them seriously. Josh and Riley agree to help and show Dr. Clark the photos Josh took in 10,000 BC. Rebecca gets injured, protecting Gavin from the wolf attack. She tells him that his mother's name is Caroline and that she is currently in 1988, but before she was able to tell him more, she passes. Now Josh learns that Caroline is his grandmother. She tells them that their experiments on time travel have caused the sinkholes to appear across time. And so she had to come to 1988 to gather the first set of data required to create a virus to shut down the time portal. Caroline asked them to help her with the fuses. She tells them to shut down the power before she was able to finish the code, since their location has been compromised. With no other options left, Riley goes to a young Sam in 1988 and asks him to remember something and commit it to memory. In 10,000 BC, Gavin and the group head for the building to go to 1988. He meets James, who is his father, and it turns out this project was his idea. He shows him around the building, and when others get there, he tells them that there is no way to go to 1988. But it turns out that his father has lied to him because Sam remembered when Riley interacted with his younger self and tell about the time portal inside the building. Not wanting to push his son any further, he allowed them to get through the portal to 1988. They reunite with Josh and Riley and went straight to rescue Caroline. Gavin learns that she came to 1988 to stop the sinkholes. She reveals that his father is dangerous, and he's trying to stop her, which is why she couldn't leave him with his father and decided to adopt him while he was younger. She tells him, once they go back and closes the portal in 10,000 BC, all the sinkholes will close and they won't be able to get back to their timeline. They get to the sinkhole while Levi stays. Before they jump, Gavin has another vision of Eve lying in his arms. Anyhow, he denies it and goes through with it. After getting back, Gavin decides to take Izzy along with him and go see James to distract him from what's really going on. While looking for stones for making a ring for Ty, Ella and Veronica find a tree with red flowers. Gavin eventually tells her about his vision, the one with the red flowers. At the tower, James is surprised to see his son has returned. He shows Izzy around, while Gavin provides access to his mother at the substation to upload the virus. However, they encounter power fluctuations, and turns out that Sam was trying to cut off the power to stop them. He was conflicted with the thought that he won't be able to see his family again. Back at the tower, when James had finally caught up, he urges Gavin to stop the upload, revealing that he has made progress on stabilizing the machine, and he offers to send them back to their time period and save his wife, and so his vision of Eve dying will not happen. Gavin stops, trusting that his father might actually be able to help them. He convinces Caroline that Dr. Harold has a solution to stabilize the portal, but all they were able to find was his dead remains and a key. They finally got to a cave where he lived, and Caroline finds Dr. Harold's unfinished work, but decide to keep it a secret from Gavin. Levi is back, and he has been working to bring them all ever since they jumped through the sinkhole. Virgil, a member of the group, betrays them and signals the exiles to attack the camp. Lucas soon realized that he was forced to help the exiles because they had his wife hostage. Sam and the others rescues Virgil's wife and figures that the exiles must have gone for the clearing. Tommet and the exiles are there for a journal. Now Veronica knows about this book, which belonged to Aaron, and led them to his grave and retrieve it. Gavin and the others, they attack the exiles. And at the clearing, when Tommet tries to escape, he gets stabbed by Scott. Before he passes, Tommet reveals that Kiara asked him to find the book. In his therapy session with James, Ty tried to get to know about Project Blue Moon. Now Ty tells Kiara about this, and she said that Blue Moon is the first project that James has locked her out of. They think that James planned to go back in time and prevent Gavin from leaving, but if this happens, time will be rewritten, and Josh and Izzy will cease to exist. At the wedding, Gavin finds his mother's dead body and initially suspects his father. However, James assures him that he loved her. It seems that Kiara is responsible for his mother's death, and she leaves the village with the journal, taking Ty hostage. James, he knows a way to get into the building, so Gavin and Eve leave with him and get inside the building. James gains access to the system, and when Gavin discovers that Levi is planting explosives, he tried to change his mind, but he lost his family because of James, and so there is no stopping him now. Eve saw James trying to execute Project Blue Moon, but she stops him, but James knocks her down and leaves. Gavin's attempt to stop Levi fails, but when Izzy arrives, she convinces him to back down. Unfortunately, they were unable to defuse the explosives and are forced to evacuate before the building is destroyed. The group thought that the only way to get to their home is now gone. Gavin talks to Veronica about the coordinates she found, suspecting they lead to a second machine built by Dr. Harold, and so they decide to head out and check the coordinates, and find the remains of people who were killed by some animal. They find a lockbox which Gavin opens using the key they found before. Inside, they find a map, which they believe will lead to the time machine inside the caves. They also encounter a young girl named Petra, who warns them about a monster inside. Eve, knowing that her family is in danger, went after to warn them. A giant lizard attacks them, protecting Eve. Gavin takes the blow and is impaled by a rock. Sam tells her that Gavin will bleed out in a few hours, but if they pull him out, it will be over quick. They find James inside the cave. He has the fuel rods, and they have found the machine, so Eve comes up with a plan to save Gavin by going back in time. James opens a portal which will take them 4 hours in the past, but he needs to keep it open for them to return. The machines start to act out, and James thinks it is caused because of the lack of water in the cooling system. They finally find a tree which was blocking the flow of water. Meanwhile, Gavin passes away, spending his last moments with Josh. Eve leaves a message for Gavin on the back of the map, warning him, hoping it will work. And it seemed that Gavin got her message and he's alive. Now that they have a way to go back to their timeline, they prepare to leave. James cut himself loose and now has the upper hand on Gavin. He demands him to give the journal. A fight broke out, and shots were misfired on the machine. Gavin shoots and kills his father, who warns him about his sister. Now the machine has gone haywire, opening portals to various time periods. As Gavin and his family leave the cave, Eve goes back to get the journal but got locked inside. She gives the journal to Gavin, promising to get back to them before getting sucked through the portal.